Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about some new info that just dropped for GPO. Now this might be for update 5, not sure, because this info is coming out like super late because all the other teasers have come out way earlier than this. So this is like really late, and also the devs have gone like silent for like 2 weeks straight. They haven't dropped any new info. So I'm kind of glad that they dropped something new, but like it's super late. So I'm not sure if the update is coming out even later than it already, like how late it is already. But hopefully it does come out soon. So before we get into the new info, if you could hit that sub button, I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers, and if you could hit that like button, that would be greatly appreciated. And let's get straight into the video. Alright, so the first teaser is going to be the shadow fruit. Now the reason why I believe it's a shadow fruit is because the model that they showed in the Discord is very similar to the shadow fruit's bats that's in the show. So I don't really think this could be anything else other than the shadow fruit. There's not much things in the show that represents this. But they did put a troll face above the image, so I'm not sure what that means in particular. That kind of scares me a little bit. But I think they're just memeing at that point. They wouldn't make an entire model just to not use it. So I do believe this is a shadow fruit. So I definitely want to go over a potential moveset for Shadow, because there's a lot of moves that Shadow has done in the show. So the first move is obviously based on the teaser. Is going to be the Shadow Bats move, where you summon a bunch of bats from your shadow and you attack the player. So this could work in like two separate ways. The first way, it could work like how horror works, where when you summon your shadows, you stick onto the opponent, and you know it just sticks onto them, and depending on what they do with the move, they can either make it explode once it sticks on them, or they can make it, you know, the bats bite onto them, like, you know, constantly bite them to do damage over time, or they can just make it how Fireflies is, and then you just launch shadow bats and it just explodes on impact. They can also do that. So it just depends on how they work the move. It's really up to them how they develop it. I'm more so hoping for the stick onto the person and do damage over time. I feel like that's the most unique thing they can do, but if they want to do the other two, that's perfectly fine. Other moves that they can do is the shadow clone, where you literally summon an entire clone yourself from your shadow. This move has a lot of potential. Obviously you can do twice the damage if your clone is here or something like that, or you can use it how the hollow dagger is, and you use your shadow as a teleporting spot. You just place it down and your shadow extends, and then you teleport to it. It's already in the game. I feel like that's very simple to just copy and paste, like very simple. So that's most likely what they're probably gonna do, but I hope they do a little something different with the clone if they do add the clone. The next thing is gonna be the shadow extend. Now this move is kind of like a grab, but it's a long range grab. So you extend your shadow and it pulls the opponent towards them. So I'm not sure if it's going to be broken, because having an extended grab in a game like this, where you can also combo it with another grab, which like Pounding Festival or Trident Impale. I'm not sure if it's going to be super broken, but I'm sure they can find a way to balance it. It's probably going to, if they do add a shadow grab that's long range, it's most likely going to be broken on release. I'm not going to lie to you, like most fruits are. But I do think it will be a great move to have on the fruit. The next move could be Shadow Spear. So basically you turn your shadow into a spear and you launch it at the opponent and it impales them. Pretty simple. And since there's the, once again, Festival Lancer in the game, they can just do the same animation where you impale them and they launch and they like get impaled to the wall. Pretty simple. I also think you should combo extend with it. Same thing with the Festival Lancer, the same way. Once you impale them in a wall, it's combo extendable. So that move is very easy to make. Another simple move. Another move they could add is two potential ults, in my opinion. So the first potential ult is the shadow cut, and where you cut the opponent's shadow. Now the reason why I don't think this move can work too well is because players can straight up just disable shadows in the game. So say a player gets their shadow cut and they can't stand in the sun anymore. If they have their shadows disabled, they won't really know where to stand. Obviously you can stand over cover, like that's the most obvious place to stand, but if you can also stand in just straight up shadows but you can't see them because it's disabled, then that move might be a little unfair, kind of, because I know some people's PCs can't handle GPO that well, so they need to turn off basically everything, especially if you have fast mode on. There's literally zero shadows, it's just flat ground, so that's gonna be really hard for people like that. So I don't think that move would work too well. The next ult they can add is Shadow Control. Now this one's a little bit more realistic, but I'm not sure how they would implement it. So basically what you do is you take your shadow and you put it into the opponent. So I'm not sure how that would really work. I'm not sure if like once you put your shadow in the opponent, they just freeze still for like a couple seconds, and then once you know the move is done, it's done, like you can't do anything. Or once you put your shadow in the person, you can like mold them into whatever you want, like kind of like crush them down, and then it does like a ton of damage, and then they explode back open. They can do that kind of how in the show they turned the giant into a ball and they threw it at the people, at the Straw Hats. So that's where I got the move idea from. So I'm not sure how they can do it, but I think that's the more reasonable ult. Or they can just make the ult a bunch of shadow bats launching at the person. That's probably the easiest thing they can do also. But I'm hoping it's something a little bit more unique, because the shadow fruit is a very unique fruit. There's a lot of things they can do with shadows. So I'm hoping they do some type of unique mechanic. And a passive they can do, because a lot of fruits have passives, like how Pika and Goro Bomb have dashes, and Mara and Zushi make boats faster. A passive that Shadow can have is if you're on the ground, it does more damage because you know your shadow's right next to your body on the ground. And if you're in the air, it does less damage. So it's either take less damage in the air or more damage on the floor. So you can play it a little smarter. So like if the person's basically almost dead, it doesn't matter where you use the move. You can use it in the air or the ground, doesn't matter. But if you use the move on the ground, it does like say 125% more. Like, it's just something simple, like not hard. Or they can make the passive you do more damage at nighttime. And the reason why I think this is a better one is because one, it doesn't affect the arena at all, because the arena does not turn nighttime anymore at all. So this would not affect the balancing over there. And it would only affect the balancing in PvE. So once it's nighttime, it's going to be better for shadow users to farm, better for shadow users to PvP in the main island. So I do think that's a unique mechanic they can add. It's something simple, something very easy to add. I do hope the passive is unique to Shadow instead of just buffing a boat or a different dash, because that's been done multiple times already. And the next teaser I want to get into is Mochi. Now when I saw this picture, I won't lie, I thought it was wax. I forgot Mochi even existed for a second. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be 5 fruits added, nice. And then I was like, oh wait, that's just Mochi. So this move looks like the 2 circle donuts that Katakuri summoned from the floor and then created fists. So I do think that's what this move is. So I'm not sure how that's really gonna work, because if there's just 2 giant fists on your command 24/7, then that seems kind of broken to me, because especially the range that I think it's gonna have, because those dough fists went very far in the show, like very far. So I'm hoping they make the range reasonable instead of some long range move, especially if it guard breaks too, because it really wouldn't make sense for 2 giant dough hands not to guard break. That would just look very stupid. So if these moves do guard break and is long range, then it's definitely going to be hard to fight dough users, definitely hard to get into them and do combos on them. But nonetheless, I do hope the dough move comes. And also I want to talk briefly about the upcoming mode, the Battle Royale mode. They haven't dropped any info about it at all lately. The only thing they said was they're going to add it, and I didn't talk about it last video when I talked about update 5, so I want to briefly cover that. Battle Royale, I just want it to be a giant map. Just even if they just take all the existing assets in the game, existing islands, and just clash them together, I'll be perfectly fine with that. But as long as it's unique, interesting, I think a unique mechanic they can do is like they can have chests around, because chests are in the game, and you can just open the chest and you get weapons and fruits. And you or they can make the fruits come from like supply drops from the air or something like that, or you can raid ships for fruits. But I do believe that if they do Battle Royale, they should make weapons spawn from chests. They just have chests around the map somewhere, and you just open it, get weapons, you start fighting. I also think they should drop gear. Obviously that would definitely make it interesting. There's a lot of things they can do for a one-piece Battle Royale, like a lot. So I definitely have high hopes for that, especially with GPO's combat. I have a lot of high hopes. Man, the final circle combat just sounds so fun. Just imagine having your fully decked out gear, but it's not the gear that you particularly wanted, but you're just way more OP than your opponent, and you just fight it out and you just 1v1, and whoever wins gets like some type of prize. I do think they should make it a fruit spinner, like a random fruit spinner if you win the game, like kind of like a gacha system, how that spinner works. I know a lot of people don't like gacha, but I do think that would be a great mechanic to just have a spinner on the screen, and you can either potentially win a Logia or you get a common. Just depends on what you get. But yeah, that's the news for update 5. I love the news. I love that they're talking again, because they haven't talked about any update news for a while now. The devs have been talking about potential suggestions, but that's not really anything they're just suggestions that they're thinking about. They're nothing concrete. So I'm glad there's more concrete evidence coming out. So if you guys did enjoy this video, once again, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. Also join the Discord. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but join the Discord. And I'll see you guys later.